Cinemajaw is brought to you by Cards Against Humanity. They asked us not to read an ad. Enjoy the show. You're listening to Cinemajaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded in Wicker Park, Chicago. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is
Ryan the Movie Guy. And sitting alongside us, as always, is our engineer and local filmmaker, Elias Rodriguez.
How's it going, Jawheads?
This week on Cinemajaw, Matt, we take a look to the father figures in our lives as we cover our top 5 favorite movies about fatherhood.
Yes, and we did movie dads.
Yes, very interesting. We are doing fatherhood movies.
It's a little different.
It is vastly different, especially the way we covered it, because we actually talked briefly about this, and we said we did dads, and so I went back and I listened to it. And
that was
we're
with
talking
Maddie Ballgame. Episode like 152, I believe, somewhere right around there. So we're talking a long time ago. Good one to listen back to.
And it was a fun one to listen back to, but we were talking movie dads. It's a little bit more humorous. When you think dad, it has a different connotation than it does fatherhood.
A little bit more serious.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is a little bit different when we're talking fatherhood. And we're doing this because a new movie, Matt, Logan, is out in theaters, and there is some fatherhood as a theme inside this movie.
Yeah, and I really want to take you to task on your preconceived notions of Logan.
Oh, yeah?
Should we do this? Should we do this now?
Wait until we get to the review of Logan.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. I can't wait.
Yeah, because
I literally wrote down some insults for you.
Hey, because we got a great guest that's going to be joining us, who is actually going to be reviewing Logan. The screening, we are recording this before Logan comes out. Me and Matt were not able to get to the screening, but our guest,
thank God.
Yes, our guest, Don Shanahan, who is the author of the blog Every Movie Has a Lesson. Mm-hmm. He is also one of the founders and the current president of the Chicago Independent Film Critics Circle here in Chicago. He is going to be joining us, and he has his review of Logan.
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk to Don. He's a tremendous resource for all fans of film around the world, but especially Chicago.
I agree. In addition to that, we got a whole lot more going on, don't we, Elias?
Oh, yes, fellas. Ooga booga, because we are going eye for an eye on Kong Skull Island.
Ooga booga.
Yeah, it's been we skipped a week, so I just really wanted to come out with a bang.
Okay, all right. And we have a review, as Ryan mentioned, of Logan and Get Out.
Yes. Plus, Matt, in honor of Kong Skull Island, you will take Don on in Kong Skull Island cast movie trivia. It has a large cast, so nice and easy.
Well, Kong himself is also pretty large.
He is. So good thing to do that.
This is like King Kong versus Godzilla over here.
Yeah.
Two titans of cinema criticism.
I like it.
Or at least one.
Plus, Matt, as we will find out, Don, besides reviewing films, is also a school teacher.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. And it really got me thinking. Mm-hmm. There is one school teacher in the movies that is just head and shoulders above all other school teachers when it comes to teachers.
Oh, I completely agree.
There's
completely
no doubt about
agree
it.
with this.
I mean, this teacher actually went into a classroom with students completely different.
Troubled youth, would you say?
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Troubled youth. And actually did things different in a way so that she
Let's
could...
say underprivileged too, right?
Yeah, no doubt. But got through to the students, right?
Yeah.
And that's what definitely makes
Jaime
Michelle
Escalante.
Pfeiffer... No, what? Who?
Jaime Escalante.
What the hell are you talking about? Michelle Pfeiffer
No.
in Dangerous Minds.
Stand and Deliver. Chemo.
Oh, Jesus. Come on. Compared to Dangerous Minds?
Yes.
Oh, this is a joke.
Yes, it is.
CinemaWAR. Oh, man.
You're the punchline of that joke, by the way.
We shall see. Don is going to have his hands full judging that one. Plus, Matt, it is the start of March, right?
Yeah.
And we promised the Jawheads a new riddle every single month. So we are going to announce the winner of the February riddle and a brand new March riddle.
Yeah. Welcome to spring, everybody. We spring into a new riddle.
February went quick, didn't it?
Oh, my God. What a blur.
Zip. So, Matt, let's get started there. We go back to February's riddle, which was, I have played 2 different presidents of the United States, one while he was in office, the other while he was out of the office. I have played a famous director in a movie. I have been Brad Pitt's dad, and I have also been the father of a god. I have one Oscar and have played the character I won for in 3 different films.
And Donald Trump is probably like, it's me.
Who am I? Now, it was funny. I did say, you'll recall, that we were going to make these riddles progressively harder as the year goes on. We actually got more correct responses in February than we did in January. So I failed there. I failed the Jawheads.
I wouldn't say you failed. Maybe the Jawheads are just getting smarter.
True. So we had a lot of people write in, a lot of correct answers, such as
James Hillard, who wrote us, "Hey guys, got an answer for February's riddle. Anthony Hopkins played John Quincy Adams in Amistad and Richard Nixon in Nixon. He plays Alfred Hitchcock in Hitchcock. He's Brad Pitt's dad in Legends of the Fall. He plays Odin in the Thor movies. He received the Oscar for Best Actor in Silence of the Lambs, in which he played Hannibal Lecter for the film's trilogy." And that is correct.
Yes. Well done, James. The answer was Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Yes, you will address him as Sir
Yes.
James.
So James, his name is in the hat now. And like I said, we had a bunch of correct answers, which is encouraging. But like I say, I was a little upset because I thought this was going to be a little bit more difficult than it was in January, but they proved me wrong.
Well, I think I wrote the January riddle, so that's what made it better.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. All right, so James's name is in the hat. Matt, why don't you put your hand in there and pull out a winner?
Here we go. And the winner is... Oh, wow, we have a celebrity here. Michael, he's going by Mike. Mike Kane. I don't know, no relation. From St. Louis.
Ah, St. Louis. Mike Kane from St. Louis.
Our neighbor to the south.
There you go. Mike, please write us your address at feedback@cinemajaw.com. We will get a prize pack out to you. But here we are, Matt. March brings a brand new riddle.
I'm very excited for this.
Yeah?
Yeah, I am.
And as promised, I'm trying to make these a little bit more difficult as we go along. So we'll see if I succeed this week.
Well, you still have 8 months to go.
I agree, but let's see. I tried to step it up a little bit here. So hit it, Matt. March's riddle.
I have starred in a movie all by myself. I like to drink Woodford whiskey. I have played a male nurse and a superhero. I have married Sandra Bullock, and I have starred in a flop with Jeff Bridges. Who am I?
If you know the answer to March's riddle, write us feedback@cinemajaw.com, and your name will go into a hat. And please remember to include where you're writing from. We like to know where all our listeners are at.
Yeah, for sure.
So without further ado, Matt, we bring in our guest. Don Shanahan is the author, the creator of the blog Every Movie Has Its Lesson. He is one of the founders and current president of the CIFCC. Don Shanahan, welcome to Cinemajaw.
Thanks, fellas, for having me. I appreciate it a lot. Just to be a guest and beyond. I love your work, and I'm glad you guys are also with our organization or group. I forget what we're supposed to call it, but no, thanks for having me on this late night.
Hey, man, thanks for being here, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and Don, we start with, we had mentioned at the top that you are a school teacher.
I am.
And you
by trade,
love movies, right? So you have this wonderful idea to create a blog entitled Every Movie Has Its Lesson, where you more or less take the two things that you love to do, teach and watch movies, and you blend the two. What a marvelous idea. Tell us a little bit about the website.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, I came up like a lot of people do, where I was the kind of the default movie nerd in high school and college as the reporter in the college newspaper and the high school newspaper doing the movie reviews and all that. And but I got to college, and I'm 37, so I got to college in 97 to 2001, and I saw then that journalism was going to be a dying art. I knew the internet was going to come along and just kill everything, and sure enough, 16, 17 years later, we're watching that, where print journalism is few and far between. There's not jobs. There's no place where I could have been a journalism major to the point where I can just walk out of college and be like, you know what, let me be the next Gene Siskel. So I knew I had to grow up and take a more marketable major and all that. And I went to college to be a school teacher. It was never a change or anything like that. And but in doing so, as soon as college ended, I stopped writing and doing. I was still the movie guy, and where I would go see movies and all that stuff like that. Be the sneaky teacher who would see a movie on Thursday night and brag about seeing it to the kids on Friday morning, like, we're going to go see Iron Man this weekend. Well, I already saw it last night, little guy. So I used to do that, but enough of my college friends and high school friends kind of asked me, do you still write? Do you do anything like that? Because it was kind of the advent of blogging and all that when that was coming around. And the
So
early
wait,
the early aughts.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Set a timeline for us. So this was around like 2006, 7, 8.
I started the blog in 2010. People kind of got in my ear around 2009, like you should write again. You should really enjoyed the way you wrote back in college and stuff like that. So
Kind of right around the time we got started.
yeah.
Too,
I mean, I knew nothing of it at the time. I was a non-social media user. I was kind of a person who wouldn't know how to do any of that. But a couple of people got the idea, like, you should write your thoughts down to see what you think about it. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to do that, I need to do that with kind of a niche in mind. And because I felt like enough people that I read were all kind of the same. So I couldn't help but look at my career as at that point almost a 10-year educator and go, you know what, that's my lens now, that's my life now as a school teacher and an elementary school teacher, where every time I walk into a movie, I think I constantly, because I always see the kids first and then the next day at work, how do I translate what I see to them? And I know I would be that guy who would in class always try to find a movie to watch. Like, when it was, for example, to mention lazy teachers, when it's state testing week, when it was ISET week at the time, and now it's park testing now, we're not supposed to give homework and things like that. So we would watch like the Star Wars trilogy from, we would do our...
in class?
We would do our fancy state testing in the morning for 2 hours because it was torturous and horrible and they had to be prepared for it. Had to have our pencils sharpened and chew gum and really focus on the test. But and then after that, we're supposed to let the kids off easy and have an easy day. So all of us would just, we're not supposed to give homework. We're not supposed to teach. We're like, well, all right, screw it. We're just going to watch movies all day. So
This is a wonderful teacher to have.
I know. For about a decade and a half ago, lazy teachers in the months of February and March would not teach your children during state testing week. So you can open that scandal there. But no. So my niche was I couldn't help in that way of being a teacher. Like, what could I get out of the movie, or what could my kids get out of a movie I would tell them about? Because we would watch stuff like that and have discussions afterwards, because a lot of times I would show kids movies they haven't seen before. Now, it wasn't, not like I'm showing Airplane in the middle of the third grade class.
Age appropriate.
Age appropriate. We're watching the Star Wars trilogies.
Okay, so, and we talked a little before we started recording. What grade do you teach?
At the time, it was a middle elementary, so 4th, 5th, 6th grade is kind of my wheelhouse. At the time now, because it's been years later, I'm an instructional coach at the moment for a public school district, where I'm kind of the graybeard, the mentor of teachers, where I'm there for kind of agent of change, teacher improvement.
You're the Obi-Wan.
I'm the Obi-Wan. I'm the mentor that pulls teachers now aside and says, hey, I don't know if that lesson went so good and stuff like that. Non-evaluative, but at the same time kind of meant to be that peer review helper guy. So the niche kind of turned into, I had that word in my head was a lesson. What lessons can they get? So I'm like, you know what? A lot of people would challenge me like, oh, Don, you can't come up with a lesson for everything you ever watch. I said, you know what? Challenge accepted. So I kind of put the title of Every Movie Has a Lesson. And sure enough, every single thing I watch, I try to find something that is a takeaway or a nugget. And that has kind of been the niche in the place since.
So has there been a movie that you've at least had a struggle with, where it was like, oh, this was a bit of a stretch?
No, the stretches I have are not to spoil. Like, because sometimes maybe in a denouement of a movie or a big moment of learning or just the finish of a movie, something will happen to a character that's a transformational thing, and it would be a spoiler for the movie. So I have to kind of talk around it in a few lessons. But most of the things my friends would challenge me on were like, take Jackass 3D or Bad Grandpa. Like, Don, there's no way you're going to find a life lesson in that movie. I'm like, are you kidding me? You can find 25 things those jerks do you shouldn't be doing in real life. So the span became life lessons you can find in a movie from serious to farcical. Because the serious ones are the little moments where you get your tissue out and go, yeah, man, I really learned something. And then the farcical ones are like, don't get into a porta-john with dynamite in the bottom or something like that. So stuff, don't be a blonde girl that goes down the hallway by herself in a scary movie. So it turned into that. And it's kind of been a little bit of a niche since. It's I don't know if the niche goes anywhere. I mean, I guess it's unique enough, but I've heard from other people like, oh, it's not journalistic enough, or I don't know of a good place to publish or write that. I know our mutual friend in the group, Emmanuel Noisett from E-Man's Movie Review. Shout out to E-Man. He's like, you got to find like a teacher magazine or a parent magazine you can write for, because then that would be like an audience and stuff like that. Yeah. So I just haven't tried doing that because, I have a day job and we're here at 11 o'clock at night thinking we can do podcasts and reviews and stuff.
Not to mention, as we kind of alluded to at the top, you are also the one of the founders and the head of the Chicago Independent Film Critics Circle. Yeah,
it's become a new little thing to put some work into, and I spend today like going. My little routine on Thursdays is go through everyone's website, find their latest thing, and post it on our site because I'm kind of that webmaster person for that. And no, those decisions have been a new thing to occupy some time, but it's not a super duper time killer. I'm just glad it has been a group that can. As Pam had said a few weeks ago, just to shine a light on other critics and maybe people who wouldn't normally get that attention from larger groups, because we do represent, not just diversity in terms of demographic, but diversity in terms of the style of film criticism. We have podcasters, we have video essayists, we have bloggers like myself, people who are do-it-yourself and, self-made people more than just paid print journalists and all that. So it's nice to get a group of like-minded people, eager, ambitious people, and that's been fun to help run and push. So
we're proud to be a part of it too.
No,
man.
I'm equally proud to have you guys with us. So
yeah. Now on the website, how many lessons? Is it always a set number of lessons?
I dabbled with that at the beginning. Like I was really rudimentary in the beginning. Like I thought, I could probably just do the whole, like the more, I don't know, educational version, like man versus nature, man versus man. Like I thought I should just narrow it to just the normal, the rote. And then I'm like, but then I would find a few movies where I would do more than 5 lessons. And my friends who would read it, like, Don, that's just too much to read. So I tell myself now 3. They find 3 top ones. If you can go 4 or 5 with a light one or a simpler one or something that
like
really
a bonus
resonates.
lesson.
Yeah. Because I mean, if I do more than 3, one of them is always like a throwaway dorky thing, and then 3 of them are serious ones. So I try to boil it down to 3 really good takeaways that don't spoil. So my rule is 3. I'll go to 5 if I'm doing Jackass 3D. It's 25. So,
well, since I've discovered it, I have definitely when I've seen a movie and I thought, I bet you Don's seen this and reviewed it. I go and I look to see what the lessons are because it's interesting.
Yeah, it's just something. I mean, and I know it's just one person's perspective and one person's talking point on it, but I get a kick out of sitting around. Those are the things that when I write rack my brain the most. Like, every now and then a movie will come along where I'm like, I can write the lessons of that review first, and that's set in stone, and then I got to do all the other jargon that's in there. And then there's some where I can perfectly describe the movie from head to toe, and then I get to the lessons and go, how can I boil this down or simplify it enough to just be 3 things, non-spoiler, or just what's a good nugget? Like, so if you see a movie where I only put like 2 lessons, that's a place where, read between the lines, I struggled. Or I'm like, this was a piece of crap movie and I can't come up with anything. Let's just be nice and put 2 here. Or if it's a,
well, the lesson could always be, don't go see this movie.
I try not to get all fourth wally about it, in that kind of way, but sometimes I do. One of my favorites on the site that I always reference is just my taste in movies and where it goes in just a different direction sometimes is Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life, which I could not. I know people love Terrence Malick and his cinematography and all that.
Our friend Rye the movie guy was a big fan.
Oh, I can't stand that movie.
Tree of Life, I love. And I don't love all Terrence Malick's, but
no, it's a PowerPoint slideshow of trees and curtains and stuff. And
nice.
And I hate my dad 1950s that takes 3 hours and then I have to wait 40 minutes for a dinosaur to grow up. No, it's horrible movie.
Oh, the old dinosaur. That's how I feel about like Night of Cups or
Night of Cups was just as bad.
No, that's awful. That's dribble.
What was my lesson that one? Take a girl to the beach for a date works every time.
But Tree of Life, I thought succeeded. Yeah.
No, man.
It was grand. It was grand.
It's beautiful. I mean, that's the thing. I could step back and watch a movie like that and go, get it. Emmanuel Lubezki's cinematography is incredible. Brad Pitt's really, really dedicated. Jessica Chastain's pretty. But it goes nowhere. Like, I'm as wandering as Sean Penn at the end of the movie going, yeah, I'm going to go die in the desert now because I'm done.
I don't know.
Done.
I think it matters, too, when you see those type of movies. Sometimes you just got to get lost in it. And that one worked on me. I love that one.
I saw it midday where I'm like, and I was like tailgating because I'm like, this is Terrence Malick. This is gonna be good. It's 3 hours. It's called The Tree of Life. Brad Pitt, awesome. You know, that you watch the trailer and it has all that imagery, and you're like, and I sit down and I watch it midday. I was at River East or something. It wasn't a press screening or anything like that. I was just going on my own dime, and I'm sitting there, and it's only like 4 other people because it's an indie movie and it's midday, and we're all sitting around and we're all just checking our watches. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, because as soon as the Big Bang and the dinosaur shows up, I'm like, oh, come on, where are we? And it just keeps going, and it just keeps going, and it just keeps going, and it's beautiful.
Oh, I love that.
But
moment.
it just. No,
good stuff.
Or put that in its own movie, which sounds like he did with whatever documentary he did at the end of last year. So this Journey of Time stuff.
Good stuff. Well, we may be discussing Tree of Life later on in the show.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Watcher.
Heavens
Oh God, Fatherhood. Don't. Oh, that's an A. I hate my dad. Fatherhood movie.
Hey, it's Fatherhood, right?
It counts as Fatherhood. I get it. I get it.
Yeah. So for the Jawheads listening to this that want to read your reviews, check out more about you at Twitter and Facebook, all that good stuff. Where's the best place to do so online?
I mean, Facebook's easy for me. Look up Every Movie Has a Lesson, but also the website is everymoviehasalesson.com. My Twitter handle is Casablanca Don. So Casablanca the movie, Don, all one word. Because Every Movie Has a Lesson wouldn't fit. And I think I'm more active on Facebook than I am on Twitter, so that tends to stick with where we go. So that's the easiest for me.
Do it, Jawheads.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Now we like to end all of our guest interviews with some silly cinema cues. Get to know the guest through the eye of the lens.
Okay.
Elias, you got
my
something for
James
Don?
Lipton pictures here.
Yes. So, Don, you are the president of the Chicago Independent Film Critics Circle.
President's a strong word, but I'm there. Yeah.
So, if you could model your presidency after a movie president, who would you model it after?
My number one favorite movie president is Morgan Freeman from Deep Impact.
Oh.
You know, I like the
Nice.
There you go. I like the calm and steadiness that Morgan Freeman brings. That's you guys have seen me in a meeting. That's kind of how I roll.
Nice.
I just I'm not gonna get my panties in a bunch over a thing. I'm not gonna stomp and soapbox over stuff. I'm just gonna be like, you know what, we got this. Weather the storm, the seas will recede, or whatever cutesy wootsy Morgan Freeman lines that he goes.
The penguins will march.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. So Morgan Freeman's my spot. But in my heart of hearts, I want to be Harrison Ford that punches people off planes. I can't do that, but I mean, the restrained version of me says Morgan Freeman.
So if next week Matt K comes in with a shiner on his eye,
you'll know Don said, "Get off of my plane!
Yeah, get off my plane! Get off the damn committee!" Yeah, something like that.
All right. Next question. So if you had to go back to school, like the movies Back to School or Billy Madison, and save the day by either doing a triple Lindy or peeing your pants to prove you're cool, which one would you do?
Pee my pants, no question.
Really?
Just easier, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Less effort involved.
I love the
way
triple
less
Lindy,
effort.
though.
No, I can't do the triple Lindy. I'll take the pee the pants and roll from there.
I don't think anybody can really do the triple Lindy, man.
No.
Whoa.
It's impossible.
You might.
right?
You know what? You might be able to do both.
Triple Lindy while peeing,
Yeah.
that could be done.
I mean, you might
That's
just pee your pants while doing the triple Lindy.
challenge accepted.
All right.
I like where that's going.
Good question, though.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
That's good.
Good stuff. All right, so Don is sitting in on this entire jaw. He has his top 5 favorite films about fatherhood. Matt, it brings us to a segment called Eye for an Eye. Elias, what do we got?
Eye for an eye. Interested or ignore? Kong, Skull Island. A team of explorers and soldiers travel to an uncharted island in the Pacific, unaware that they are crossing into a domain of monsters, including the mythic Kong. The film stars Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, and John Goodman, and John C. Reilly. We throw it over to Rye. Interested or ignore?
All right, is it too soon for another King Kong movie? Yes, absolutely.
I agree. Too soon.
But we know that they are doing this because it's the same studio behind Godzilla, and eventually we're going to have King Kong versus Godzilla.
Next summer.
That quick? Really?
Probably.
I mean,
I haven't heard, but
I haven't
it
heard
stands
either.
to reason.
The only reason why I'm saying I'm hoping this one is good is I mentioned that Godzilla was a shock to me, that I enjoyed it as much as I did. I didn't even want another Godzilla movie, but I went and saw it and I had fun with it at the theater. And again, this is the same formula. Let's get a large cast with some pretty solid acting chops behind it, and let's just have a big special effects fun blast at the theater. And it's only March. It's not really a summer movie. Am I overly excited for it? No, but I gotta give myself a bell. Interested.
You should have done a beating of the drums, like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, we should hit the table here.
And I do love one of my favorite elements of King Kong is Skull Island. I love in all the different adaptations that we've seen. Whenever they go to Skull Island is always my favorite part of those movies. And this
Yeah,
sounds
I
like the whole
know,
movie
I
is going to
guess.
be on Skull Island. So
How many times have we seen Skull Island? And I think
Yeah.
Peter Jackson did it. I'll just take it here. Here we go.
ahead.
Peter Jackson really knocks it out of the park with Skull Island. I mean, that bug scene was just phenomenal.
Awesome.
Yeah, so awesome. And maybe the effects are starting to wear a little bit at the edges, but not terribly.
No.
Yeah, way too soon. But yeah, I'm interested.
Oh, same,
It's
same
King
here,
Kong.
right?
How could you not
Yeah.
be?
We throw it to Don. Interested or ignore?
I have to echo both sentiments. I'm with Matt where this is too soon, but at the same time, what you said, Ryan. I'm intrigued because I'm down for a Godzilla throwdown. I don't think Gareth Edwards' movie from a couple years ago was all that good of a Godzilla movie. Anything was better than the real Emmerich movie from years ago, but it's still the same. An object that large can't sneak underneath people and be super quiet in the night. How can no one notice it's there? The tropes were still there, but at least it was done in a really destroy a city kind of way. So, yeah, it's completely too soon, and the effects and things aren't that all that advanced. But yeah, I want to see this. Good cast, good people, and for me, it's bigger is better. This little Peter Jackson Kong that can conveniently fit on the top of the Empire State Building. Give me the one that can knock the Empire State Building over.
Yeah, he is like, 200 feet?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Elias?
So I know a little bit about the director. He originated in the Chicago comedy scene doing some stand-up video work, and then he eventually had his own Comedy Central show, Mashup, where he did some really cool in-your-face kind of stuff, again with stand-ups. And I think it's in good hands, so I'm going to say interested for that point.
You think it's in good hands because it's a Chicago stand-up guy?
No, but he
that's-
did some really
yeah.
in-your-face kind of. Once he got a budget on this Comedy Central show, he did some cool stuff.
Okay.
So I think
that explains John C. Reilly in the trailer, who's really overacting to do what he's doing with the crazy screw loose leftover General Kurt stuff. So
Yeah, right.
There's parts of it that are gonna. What I noticed and someone brought up to me the other day was how much they're hiding Hiddleston and Larson in all the trailers, which look on paper to be the stars of the movie, yet they're going to show off Riley and Goodman and some of the more vet and Samuel L. Jackson. So I wonder if there's just a bigger, better movie waiting behind all the shtick. So
I just want to see King Kong.
I want to see stuff get blown up.
I don't care who's in the movie. King Kong's in the movie. That's
Right.
enough. That's enough.
Hey, 4 interesteds. We all agree it's
Right?
too soon,
Yeah.
but we're still all interested in it.
It's getting my $9. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
RKO.
yeah,
I'm there.
There you go. 4 interesteds for King Kong. Speaking of new movies, Matt, Jordan Peele of Key and Peele fame has written and directed this latest comedy horror film, Get Out, about a boyfriend going to meet his girlfriend's family for the weekend. The premise may sound simple, but the execution is what makes this one of the best films of 2017 so far.
You got your toothbrush?
Check.
Do you have your deodorant?
Check.
Do you have your cozy clothes?
Got that.
What?
Do they know I'm black?
Should they?
You might wanna,
Mom and Dad, my black boyfriend will be coming up this weekend. I just don't want you to be shocked that he's a black man.
I ain't never seen you like this before, bruh. Meeting families, taking road trips. Don't come back all bougie, man. Come back, get your damn pants up to your damn stomach.
Think of a twisted Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Chris, an African American, is dating Rose, who is white. The film opens with them talking about their weekend trip to her family's estate for the weekend. As soon as they arrive, we start to feel that Chris is out of his element, but also the fact that something strange seems to be going on with all the people around him. Most of this is due to the way Rose's parents are acting. They are played by Bradley Whitford and Catherine Keener. Both are excellent here, Matt. Things get a little stranger when Rose's brother shows up for dinner. Now, the following day sees a small family party gathering at the house, and that is when Chris knows for sure that something is not right. What unfolds is a fun, demented little story. Hypnotism, brain surgery. Get Out surprised me how good it was. There are some funny moments for sure, maybe even one of the best I told you so moments ever in movie history. But overall, this is a gripping, edge of your seat horror thriller. I highly recommend you get out there and see Get Out.
Wow.
Loved it.
Yeah, that's you should get out and see it.
Yes,
yeah.
Get Out and see.
You just missed a totally golden opportunity there.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice. Rye, how about your favorite scene?
Favorite scene in the movie is near the end. Chris is strapped down into a chair in what we all can sort of recollect is the perfect sort of family home basement. One of these that has like a game room that you probably
Is there a
normally...
ping pong table?
Yeah, it has like a ping pong table, a pool table. It has the
Pinball machine.
It's a rec room.
Yes, a rec room. And you know how that, when you think of it right away, it's probably in your mind just a happy environment that you would think of, right? But the beauty of this movie is that it flips it in such a way that he is trapped in this chair and he's looking at one of those old school televisions that used to look like furniture, you know, those old
Console
TVs.
televisions,
Those console televisions. And that's where they're explaining to him the sinister stuff that's going on and what's about to happen to him. And all of a sudden, that look of that room that's so familiar to us has this like eeriness to it. And it's just empty with him in that like rec room. And it's just flips it. All of a sudden, you're creeped out by the whole thing. And it has one of those heads of a stuffed deer. Those things always freak me out. I could never be in a room with those things alone. And he's looking up at it and it's going back and forth. And eventually he does actually use that head of the deer in some fashion later on in the movie. But awesome. I love that entire scene.
Wow, you just painted an awesome picture as Jordan Peele did, apparently. So I keep hearing great things about this movie, but is there any scenes that you had trouble with?
Not terribly. I wouldn't say it was any scene was awful. If anything, maybe the opening scene, or not really necessarily the opening scene, but the scene where Chris finally meets the parents, which does happen rather quick. And the parents right away start picking up on things that are wrong with Chris. And I know you got a limited runtime here in a movie, but usually when people meet the parents, within 5 minutes, you're not criticizing them for smoking or, you know, there's some type of, you know, ease into the family, give the guy a minute to breathe.
Sure,
you know?
but they maybe
it seemed
a little twisted,
rushed.
Right?
Yeah, but it was twisted, but it seemed a little rushed where it was right away you would be like, what the heck's going on here? You know, is there cameras following me? Because why would you be asking these kind of questions so soon? But minor complaint on how good this movie is.
Any movie influences?
Influences here, as I mentioned, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? And if anything, a little bit of The Village with M. Night's, where it's obviously all these people that are in some type of like cult or village type feeling all around him. So, yeah.
Ooh. As our guest Don talks about, did you learn anything from this movie specifically?
I was just going to ask the same thing.
There you go. I learned that Catherine Keener can be scary as hell.
Oh, man,
I knew that
yes.
before the movie.
Hell yeah, I did too.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, there's one scene in there where Chris comes in from the outside after smoking, and it's just him and Catherine Keener in the house together for a second. And it's terrifying. And all they're doing is talking, but it's that feeling of she's just so intimidating there. And it's like, oh my God, what's
She's
going on?
super intimidating.
Yeah.
I mean, like being John Malkovich,
Right.
You know, and even Death to Smoochie.
Very good example there.
Yeah. Good.
I don't remember her in Death and Smoochie.
Oh, Edward Norton,
she's
Robin Williams.
Yeah, she's one of the main characters. She's
so.
like the love interest of the whole triangle, sort of.
Underrated dark comedy, by the way.
Very underrated.
Very underrated.
I love that movie.
But yeah, as I said, very intimidating and very quiet performance, and that is what is sometimes so intimidating
She even
about her.
scares me in 40-Year-Old Virgin, man.
Sure. Tell me more about Bradley Whitford, because I'm a Bradley Whitford guy all the way back from like Revenge of the Nerds too. So like, which Bradley Whitford are we getting? Are we getting older West Wing Bradley Whitford, or are we getting the, you know, Lambda, or I forget the name.
Yeah.
Really good Alpha Beta, hardcore, snobby Bradley Whitford.
It's a good mix actually.
Yeah?
Because he's obviously older here, right, and a little bit wiser, but he has this like cockiness to him. But you know what's funny here is I could not get over how much he looks like Joe Madden, the manager of the Chicago Cubs. And maybe this is because Joe Madden has now been, you know,
He's been in the media a lot.
so much after the Cubs just won the World Series. So literally he pops up wearing these glasses, sort of the same hairstyle. So to me, I kept thinking like, oh my God, I'm looking at Joe Mann. This is Joe Mann. And I don't know why. I just couldn't get it out of my mind.
He pulls open his sweater vest and it's try not to suck.
But he was awesome in there as well. Perfect on that like cockiness of a father. And then I think you pick up a little bit more that Catherine Keener's a little strange before you really pick up on him. But then the whole thing comes to fruition and it's like, ooh, this is good.
Wait, he was in Billy Madison too, right?
Quite, very much so.
Yeah, just nice.
Wait, who was he in Billy Madison?
He's the mean. He's the heir, the family heir that's supposed to get it instead of Billy.
Yes,
who wanted to get it, right? Am I right? Yeah,
right. So, Rye, can you sum this movie up in a one-word
One
review?
word, intense. Intense ride. This is a good one.
Everybody's loving this movie.
Yeah. I have yet to see it. I missed my window to see it, and I've been chasing ever since. So
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, get out there and see it. I am giving this one, Matt, 4 jaws. Listen to this. It is the beginning of March, and you are getting a 4-jaw review from Rye the Movie Guy.
That is a rare
Get Out.
occurrence.
So happened early. My first 4-jaw came out quick.
If you had to guess, when will it be dethroned with the next 4-jaw?
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks now.
Really?
Skull Island.
Beauty and the Beast.
I really don't know. You never know,
Yeah,
usually it seems, as I had mentioned a couple weeks ago on Cinemajaw, that the beginning part of the year usually is weaker, and it takes a little while to get
Things
going.
are backloaded, yeah.
But you never know. Every once in a while, you get a surprise hit like this.
Really,
That's
for
just awesome.
you, it's not going to be until January. Honestly, like late December, early January. The Oscar bait season.
The 4 jaws pile in. How many 4-jaw movies do you see? Do you feel like you see in a year?
I usually say 8 to 10.
I have the same thing. My scale's at 5, and I see 8 to 10 5-star movies a year. Yeah.
I don't like holding them down to like 4 or 5. I think there should be about 10 4-jaw movies.
Yeah.
No,
If I can fill a 10 best at the end of the year with 5-star movies, I do
and
it.
Get Out may not end up being in my top 10. You don't know how the year is going to turn out. But for what I just saw, I'm giving it 4 jaws. So that's how I rate it.
All right.
Hey, man. Yeah, go with it.
All right. There is another new movie opening up. As we mentioned at the top, me and Matt could not make it to the screening, but Don here did. And to me, I don't really care that I seen the screening because I have to be honest. I've never seen a Wolverine movie. I don't care if I ever did see a Wolverine movie. I was going to take this one for the Jawheads because I know they want my opinion. A non-comic book fan, they want my opinion of that. But everybody is talking about Logan. Don, you got the mic.
Yeah, I was able to see it early, and it was fantastic. And no, I mean the rave reviews that are out there, whether it's from critics or public people, is true. It really does take a different tone than most comic book movies. I think a lot of us are used to the comic book movie tropes by now of maniacal villains and swirling balls of energy in the sky that are trying to destroy cities and all that, which is getting awfully overdone and spread past superhero movies when movies like Ghostbusters all swirl down to ridiculous special effects battles at the end and stuff like that. So for this movie to come out and be this senior citizen set of heroes and to kind of play like a road movie and a western at the same time in terms of kind of themes and tone and pace is a nice breath of fresh air in terms of what this can be as a comic book film. And I think I called it in my review the most reflective and mature comic book film I think I've ever seen. The next closest, mature and reflective film I think is still younger in terms of characters, which would be maybe something like Captain America: Winter Soldier, where you have this guy who's back in the world and trying to reflect on where he is and doing the job he does and whether it fits his principles or other stuff like that. So, but I mean, this isn't even a comp to something like Captain America: Winter Soldier because it just, it's this. Your villain is just kind of this, bounty hunting government guy. It's not some superpowered thing. None of the throwdowns really turn into superpowers versus superpowers, other than maybe a particular villain thrown in as a surprise towards the end a little bit. But no, it just the comp I used in the review was this is kind of like the Unforgiven of superhero films because. In Unforgiven, the classic Clint Eastwood Western, you have a classic hardcore Western hero and idealized by Clint, who you see aged and slowed, where the edge is still there, the you can even call it the bloodthirst is still there. The principles are still there, but the body can't do it anymore. And that's what you have with this version of Logan, or at least Wolverine. And his healing factor is kind of failing him a little bit. He can't quite recover the way he does. He can't quite heal the way he does, and it's slowing down his life to the point where he's wondering how much longer he has. He's kind of turned into the caretaker role for Charles Xavier, which is played awesomely by Patrick Stewart with all the
back.
Oh yeah, and with all the gravitas and grace you'd expect from Patrick Stewart, but now you give him the R rating to say the F word, and it's just kind of fun, because I mean I think we all sat around thinking, oh, Professor X is going to drop an F bomb, but he's going to drop a few F bombs and tell Logan his place because he just doesn't care because he's 90 years old. Or at least his character is trying to be 90 plus years old. So
he's not too far with himself. I mean, I think he's 80, 85.
Yeah.
Something.
I mean, now don't get me wrong. I mean, if you try to sit here and, take your Homeland television board of yarn and timelines and stuff like that, this kind of fits in a different timeline or loop in terms of these X-Men films where they clearly talk about like how they got started in the original 2000 movie because where Charles, found and discovered Wolverine and things like that. But you were not sitting here talking about like, oh, we just got the school back together at the end of Days of Future Past and stuff like that. So it's definitely
which is how comics work.
Oh yeah, it's a one-shot loop and it works. True comic book fans might be disappointed because to me, the Old Man Logan story that is drawing inspiration for this is unfilmable. You just can't bring that movie to the big screen with, Incredible Hulks of BDSM and just all this stuff that just turns into where that comic book goes. But no, if you're gonna have an aged, I should say, superhero that slows down but still has that edge, it still has his principles, still has that when push comes to shove, his challenge comes, he can do it because that's him. Wolverine has always been a sucker for women, children, and the oppressed. Bullies are his triggers. So for him to kind of have his a bit of a last ride of a throwdown to defend what he can defend, which ends up being his daughter. No spoiler there because I think the trailers kind of give that away. But it's a good way for him to go out. In the film, there's a really good parallel made between the 1953 Western Shane and Wolverine because they're in a hotel room on the lam or wherever, and the movie comes on, the girl is fixated on it and sees little Joe and all the scenes from Shane and all that, and Charles Xavier is trying to explain to her because he saw the movie as a kid himself. So, I saw this movie when I was a kid, and it's amazing what this man does for this boy and for this town and stuff like that. And she completely sees, Logan as Shane, and it's a perfect comp because that's kind of where we are. We have this, weary gunfighter who doesn't want to do anymore, but is forced to do so because he wants to protect the people he's befriended, and it just, I don't know, it kind of crescendos into a really good, mature movie.
Now, it's interesting that you said that's how he goes out. Is this the last turn for Hugh Jackman?
He has said so, and I believe him. I know I think there's a, because timelines are so fluid and who cares, to the point where I wonder if enough money or enough of a good idea can talk him into a Deadpool film. I think that'd be the only way you'd see Hugh Jackman again.
Deadpool film?
I think I'd love to see a Deadpool appearance or a Wolverine appearance in a Deadpool film because I think those are two guys that have gone together enough in the comics where it'd be a fun thing to see. And
I don't know any of this. So
I agree.
We're gonna get to exactly what you don't know.
I grew up in all this junk, so it's fun.
Okay,
so.
Maybe we should just hit it right here.
Go for it.
Yeah,
segue right to it.
What did I say?
Oh my God!
Make fun of me here.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Explain him some canon
here. For Don, who may not know, our relationship over the years, and I'll admit, he is Rye the movie guy, and I'm not Matt the movie guy. Okay. So I will admit that he has a certain level of expertise over me, and that's part of the dynamic of this show. But I feel like over the years, Rye has rubbed off on me, and I've stepped my game up. Maybe not as much as he would like, but I've learned from Ryan, and I've come to appreciate film a lot more over the years.
Ah, that's nice.
This is not the same cannot be said of this man who said to me at the beginning of this before we turned the microphones on, and I wish they were on at the moment. He said, "Who's Logan? I thought it was the little girl."
Oh boy.
I seriously, I mean, listen, I'm not the guy who ever says, "Give me your man card." I think that's kind of a douchebaggy thing to say in general.
I agree.
But really, dude, really,
give me your pop culture card.
You don't know who Logan is?
It's a character that's been around since the 60s in comics and since 2000 in movies. I mean, it's 17 years of Hugh Jackman.
We're talking about Wolverine.
Okay,
man.
I what's funny is I know I've seen a couple of the X-Men films,
I've seen a couple, yeah.
but I don't pay attention to them all that much where I would know all the characters. I probably at
rocks do
some
you
point
live under?
knew that Logan was
Man, oh,
Wolverine
man.
or heard it in the movies, but when I saw Logan was coming out, I was like a little confused, like exactly who Logan was, and I was like, oh, oh, that's Wolverine's name. Okay, now I was all clear on it. I don't know. I've never seen a Wolverine film.
Can you believe this, Don?
No, I can't because
Exactly.
because
I mean,
we're all about the same age, you know. Where
Right.
we're-
This is a red-blooded American male.
between 90s cartoons and 80s and 90s comics and of course the movies that have been around since 2000. Like I would think most people would, and Hugh Jackman being the largest
But
star to come out of this franchise.
Was he in a cartoon, Wolverine?
Yes.
Yes,
many,
every single
many.
one of them. Yeah,
Yeah, like a Saturday morning cartoons.
he's
Yes.
the
I never
number one
watched them.
most
What-
popular character.
I never saw those at all. I don't know what I was watching at that time. I don't know.
What are you watching? PBS?
no,
and
I-
Mr.
Yeah, he
Rogers?
was. That's the thing.
You know who I watched a lot when it came to the
Here it
superheroes
comes.
were
Bob Ross?
No,
I mean-
no. It was the four that would go around. It was Iceman.
The Fantastic Four.
Spider-Man is Amazing Friends.
That's the ones.
Oh, yeah,
That's
but
the- who I'm
that
talking
series,
about.
those were
That's
reruns by the
Iceman,
time we were kids.
Firestar. Yeah, those were totally reruns.
But I
when
used
we
to
were
watch
kids.
those. I remember those.
Those
but
were,
I
that was
mean-
Hanna-Barbera. I mean, those
Yeah.
cartoons were made in the 60s,
Oh, well,
dude.
who knows? But I like those.
So
He
what
likes
about the
those.
80s? You weren't watching X-Men? The
Never.
cartoon?
I've never
It
seen a
actually was-
cartoon of the X-Men.
I think
in
it was.
my life.
Was it the 90s, Don?
More
Yeah.
90s. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
90,
90s. You were already
92,
grown up and you were still
93.
watching those cartoons.
What were you in the chess club? I mean,
Yeah, what the
seriously,
heck?
what were you doing?
I was studying film, Matthew. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I just wasn't into the
He
X-Men.
was locked in a room watching Birdman.
He was
films.
at wine tastings.
I guess so. I was popping zits and thinking, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen."
No, I don't know. I was never into the X-Men. I'm not
Yeah.
big into the Marvel films either. I know me and Matt getting these tips all the time.
I honestly think you never had a childhood. I think you just
Wow.
came out with a
Yep.
beard,
Right.
and like seriously,
Puberty was never an issue for you. Okay.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right.
It's unbelievable.
Any questions about Logan, Matt, for Don?
No, I've asked all my questions.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm
Well,
so
no, I mean,
flabbergasted.
I'll step out and say, just for those who are trying to plug into it, it is inspired by the Old Man Logan miniseries, but it is definitely not a chapter and verse retelling of it at all. You do blend in the origin story of X-23 for those comic fans that are out there. It is a ferociously rated R movie where don't take your kids to this. So if they've been watching X-Men cartoons and things, don't bring them to this one. This one's for the adult set. It truly is, because it's this really good mature work. But I think a person who's not familiar, I'll say it like this, because I've had people ask, like, how much of the other movies do I have to see before I see this one? And I think if you have just kind of the idea, I mean, if you've seen the 2000 original of just how these men met, especially Xavier and Logan, that's enough. You don't need to go chasing down all the timelines of everything else between Last Stand and Days of Future Past, and definitely not Apocalypse from last summer. And even though James Mangold, the director, did the last Wolverine movie, which was 2015,
I liked it.
I liked it as well. It was great. Same thing, kind of a one-shot, different timeline place to do kind of that Japanese
It was
version
more
of
of a,
Wolverine.
right, like a samurai film.
Very much so. So with this, I think if a person can appreciate a bit of a road movie, a bit of a kind of an elderly facing mortality movie, and if they can enjoy the tropes and themes of a Western, I think entry level people can get into this without needing to know who Logan is or going to see all the same cartoons.
Right,
like
you'll
this.
fit right in there.
All right. How about this, Matt?
Yeah.
I'm going to go see Logan. All right.
Attaboy.
And then on the next show, I'll let you know what I think.
All
That
right.
sounds good.
That sound good?
Wow.
I'll take one for the team. I'm not looking forward to
He's
this, but
taking
I.
one for the
No,
team.
you're
I'll
so
go see
generous.
Logan,
I mean,
all right?
wow.
This is going to come back
Elias,
to
you want to go
though.
see Logan? You want to go see
I
Logan?
really do want to go see
Okay,
Logan.
so
yeah.
me and Elias, we're going to go check out Logan.
Okay.
I don't want to go see it with you, Matt, because you'll be sitting there. Your pants will
I
be all
might
wet.
do something crazy like enjoy it.
Yeah, I
you
know. What price is this going to cost, though? What artsy fartsy film are you going to have to watch to?
Oh, he won't
fulfill
go see
Ryan the
anything.
Movie Guy?
That's
Don't
not
even
true.
get me
Go
started.
ahead.
Don't even get me started.
What's that Malik film in
Yeah.
April? Song to sing or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll go
Yeah,
see.
we'll go
I'll go
sit
see
that.
Jackie again.
Yeah.
and I enjoyed that. See, probably the
enjoyed the hell out
artsiest
of
movie.
Jackie.
Hey, we rank our films on a 4-jaw scale. How many jaws for Logan?
See, I'm this is a 4-jaw movie for me.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
2 4-jaw reviews on one show.
No, my rationale is this is the best movie in the X-Men franchise because it's the most mature and most complete. It's because of the starkness of what it does as an R-rated film and as an adventure film. It just plays really well. It's the best Fox Marvel movie, which is that I think it's a little better than Daredevil because Daredevil still kind of falls for the different things it does. And then I don't have an equal for it in terms. And no, it's not the best comic book movie ever. I'm not going to go there, but yeah, as doing what it does as a Western, doing what it does as a comic film, it's a 4-jaw movie. I admit that because I'm walking out of it. I'll name drop my guy E-Man again. Emmanuel has this term he uses when we watch comic book films because he's a huge comic book nut as well. He calls it fanlexia, and it's this euphoric feeling you have when you come out of a comic book film for the first 24 hours where you're just like, that was the best thing I've ever seen. I love it all, this thing, where you're just on that high because when we were kids, and I'm going to say we and not you, jerk, but when we were kids.
Done.
See what you did? Now I'm on Don's bad side.
Good.
No, when we were kids, we never thought we would see these things come to life. We thought cartoons were the best we were ever going to get. The effects weren't ready. The films weren't ready. All we had was...
Well, and nobody cared.
No, all we had was Christopher Reeve on wires and then campy Batman movies that should have been better when Tim Burton was there. So for this is every single one of these I watch is dream fulfillment for me, and still is even at 37 years old. So, but when you do that, it's that. The character from Chappelle, you got any more of them X-Men movies? So we're still kind of that addiction to the buzz of seeing the dream fulfillment there. So, like, a perfect example was I had that watching Batman vs. Superman about a year ago.
I did too.
Where I for what it was and when I just saw it and that hot take level the first, a couple hours after watching it, I liked it. I mean, I didn't mind. I know. I mean, I liked it because it was, bold and different and tried to do something that was just anti-Marvel. Like if they're going to go there, they went for it and they're going there and they're trying not to duplicate what Marvel does. Even though if they duplicated what Marvel did, it would be probably more profitable and probably more successful. But they were doing something bold and doing something serious. So for this movie to go take the X-Men franchise that it's normally been kind of bubbly and horribly convoluted with, every kind of fanciful villain you can do in the world, to just boil it down to, just this man versus mortality thing. It just works. It's solid. It's a Western.
There you go, man. It's a Western, so maybe I'll go see it.
All right, Ryan.
And plus it's Hugh Jackman, who maybe he's going to be singing in there like he did in Les Mis.
And you get to see him sing this coming Christmas.
There you go.
And Logan is the name of the main character, Wolverine.
Okay, I got that now. Boy, I shouldn't have said that to Matt. He's going to hang that over.
Explain the James Howlett aspect, and do we have to dive on all that?
No, I didn't even bother trying to go there with him. That would
because that name appears in the movie, and it gives all us fanboys sit there and snicker. Look at that, and the rest of us are like, oh, what? So,
I would never get it.
Yeah, don't.
I will say, out of the X-Men movies, I did like Days of Future Past. That's really the only one that even sticks with me.
First
that I remember.
Class.
Whatever that
That's
is.
good.
That's what I mean.
Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, First Class.
Because that's a stark difference.
First Class was way better, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Than Days
now
of Future
I'm
Past.
confused.
Yes, I agree.
I'm confused.
You meant First Class.
Yeah, that's what I meant, right?
Yeah.
The one that ended on the beach where you saw how...
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
How the guy in the
there you
wheelchair lost his legs.
That
guy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
However
that
that
guy,
all
that
happened.
guy.
No, I don't even know who that
is
is exactly.
He grows up to be
Pat.
Patrick Stewart.
Who's Dr. X or whatever.
Yeah, Dr. X. You got it right. You got it right. It's
I'm
Doctor
pretty
Strange,
close.
actually.
You gotta stop
These
correcting
guys
him.
with all their little bullet point. At least I got the gist of it. The
Yeah,
X-Men.
sure,
X,
yeah,
all right, I got
sure,
it. Jeez,
sure. There's
all right.
people in this
Enough.
movie.
All
Yeah.
right. We got 20 minutes on Logan there. All right.
Yeah, that was a
But no,
healthy review.
yeah, definitely go see it. It's a.
All right. Because of Logan, and there's some fatherhood elements in there. Matt threw out this suggestion of doing fatherhood movies. It's a good one, Matt. So you're
Thank
getting
you.
us started this
All right.
week.
We'll
Fatherhood, not best dads.
Yeah.
Fatherhood.
Fatherhood.
Which is different, as we mentioned at the top.
Yes. And I am going to get us started with a bang documentary out of the gate.
Wow.
Euro Dreams of Sushi.
Interesting.
Every once in a while, you shock me, and you just did here, Matt.
It's all downhill from here, trust me.
This could be a number one. This is a great pick, actually. Didn't even think of it.
Thanks.
Are you counting from 5 to 1 at the moment here?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha,
Ascending order.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I'm going to be very brief. Your Dreams of Sushi is about a perfectionist, and also about his two sons who are trying to sort of follow in their father's footsteps, pick up the family trade, which is obviously sushi chefdom, running a restaurant, and they have various degrees of success. And you know what? Suffice it right there to say, no more to add. It is very much about fatherhood and trying to live up to a perfectionist father's expectations, which obviously are way too unrealistic.
Yeah. And I mean, you just learn so much about this awesome little sushi place that's in a subway station of all places, and is one of the most highly regarded sushi places.
Right. You have to literally book like 4 months in advance or maybe a year. It's ridiculous.
And the photograph of just the food and the preparation of it all. What a documentary. I love that one.
It is. It's a great documentary.
Yeah. Great pick to get us started, man.
Thank you.
Okay.
I like it. We swing it over to Don. Don, what do you got sitting at number 5?
Mine is so much more lower brow than that. My 5th pick is the Vacation series and Clark Griswold. Because I think fatherhood and fathers are all about fallible overachievers. Because how many of as a dad myself of a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, hi Molly, hi Sam, even though they will not listen to this show. I think of fathers as the guys who try too hard, who try to fix everything they can't fix, to assert themselves where they can't assert themselves because their wife is really the boss, and just they overdo everything they think they can do out of love and out of their own self-fulfillment of manliness or lack thereof, where I have Clark Griswold and the Vacation series as my number 5 on fatherhood. Just that fallible overachievers.
When you're thinking dads and fathers, Griswold comes up a lot, right?
Yeah.
Jumps right to the top of your list.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nice pick. We're getting strong number 5s here, so I hope I can join the ranks here. I go with an Alexander Payne film. Came out in 2011. Starred George Clooney. I'm speaking of The Descendants.
He's giving himself an automatic ding on that.
He always does.
Okay. It was my number 1 film in 2011, back in the 10 best list. Yeah.
I believe it was yours as well, right?
I don't know if it was number 1, but definitely on my top 10 for sure. And this deals with George Clooney's wife, who they had some marital problems, is in a boating accident and falls into a coma. And George Clooney, who has to go back to the family. He has 2 daughters. One is played by Shailene Woodley. Sort of her
a young
breakout.
Shailene,
Yes, this was her breakout role. He has to go there and sort of take care and do his father's duties, right? He has to be the father that he sort of hadn't been in recent years. And he discovers stuff that was going on with his wife that led to this. It's a very sad movie, but it's also a movie about family. It's almost somewhat of a road trip movie, too. They have to go somewhere in a car on a trip, and one of the boyfriends is there. And
the boyfriend.
He's hilarious.
The fun part.
It is really fun. And it's Alexander Payne, so it has always... He did Sideways, for those not familiar. He has that brilliant way of
Dry
giving
wit.
Dry wit. And,
Great way of putting it.
And something serious on screen that has that humor at the same time that's just...
Right. But
Perfect.
they don't necessarily
The
play it for
balance.
laughs. Yeah.
Yeah.
agreed.
Right. Yeah.
It is.
Excellent choice.
Yeah, that's my number 5, The Descendants.
Ooh,
wow.
These are strong 5s.
These are strong 5s. Can we do
Oh,
better with our 4s?
Yes, we can, man. I'm going straight up. After Euro Dreams of Sushi and your 2 picks, guys, which were excellent, where do you go? You go to Ted Danson, Steve Guttenberg, and Tom Selleck. That's where you go. 3 Men and a Baby.
Excellent choice.
Why is this above Euro Dreams of Sushi? Well, Euro Dreams of Sushi had themes of perfectionism, probably more so than fatherhood. This has more to do with fatherhood. It's literally about 3 bachelors who find a baby on their doorstep and are forced to care for this young kid. And I think we've forgotten how much fun we had with 3 Men and a Baby back in 1987.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it was a rollicking good time. Is this a highbrow film? No. It's just 3 very lovable 80s actors who we all just have so much affection for, at least I do. and it's fun.
And I do think when I think about that film, it reminds me of a genre of film, or at least a style
That's dead now.
Yeah, the family comedy that was enjoyable. I remember being a kid
without gross out gags and lowbrow laughs. You know,
Right.
without
Well, there
cheaper
were
by the
cute.
dozen with
There
Steve
were-
Martin.
I mean, there were some where
The
the
baby
baby
pea-
peas,
the baby peas,
right?
yeah.
yeah, but not this over the topness that is necessary today for some reason.
Right now they would have showed it. Right.
Right.
Yeah, where I remember watching this and the whole family enjoyed it. My parents were laughing, and it was just a knockout for the whole entire
they
family.
don't make 'em anymore like
they
that.
just don't make them like that. Yeah,
It's a classic.
yeah.
It is.
So
I can't believe you're saying it's a classic.
I think it is. I really think it is. All right, so that's my
No.
number 4, guys.
Nice pick, Don. What do you got sitting there?
Gosh, the next like 4 are all sad, but I'll start with one level of sadness. I went to I did Grace is Gone with John Cusack. Smaller film. I think this is 2007. And for me, it's kind of a lot of times we always see the single mom a lot. You know, the through whatever circumstance that we always see a single mom, but it's rare that we see a single father, and we see the single father. And this is the case in the film where John Cusack plays the husband to an Iraq. This would be 2003. So yeah, an Operation Iraqi Freedom soldier. His wife is in the military, and he gets word that she is killed in action, and has to continue on with his 2 daughters, and can't bring it to his heart to telling their daughters the news. And he's it rattles him because it's, for a while there, you can tell as in the beginning of the film before he finds out, it's kind of emasculating that he's not the one who's. It's kind of emasculating that he's not the one who's the soldier and things like that. It's like, so he's kind of the stay-at-home dad and the active parent, whereas the mom is maybe the hero parent. So when it gets to that point of he gets the news and he has to reveal it to his daughters, they take a road trip to a amusement park in Florida and kind of have this whole thing about this one good trip to Bond before he has to break the news. And it's the best I've ever seen John Cusack act. And it's just that, for me, it's the fatherhood when it's the reflection. It's kind of the reflective fatherhood. What does a father do when they have to do it themselves? Or what does a father have to do to make the best out of something? Yeah, I don't know. It's a complicated performance. It's a small little nugget of trivia. It's the one film Clint Eastwood's ever made a score to that wasn't his own.
Wow,
which is a beautiful.
I didn't even know.
piano
So that
score.
was directed by Eastwood, huh?
It's not directed by Eastwood. It's directed by
I
somebody
see.
else, but they talked Eastwood into doing the score.
Oh, he did the score for
yeah,
the film,
which
that
he's
wasn't
done in
his
a few of
own.
his
I
own
see.
films,
Okay,
which is
gotcha,
he's got
gotcha.
that piano thing going and all that.
Yeah.
And it's just a really heartbreaking horror movie, but it's just that, I don't know. It's nice to see a father try to make the best out of something in a role reversal gender kind of way, where he's not the dominant one. He's not the hero to their children.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, interesting. That's one I got to catch up with. So, reminder for me to do so.
Yeah, not
The
bad.
best,
Grace is Gone.
Cusack, you say? Huh?
That's the best I've seen Cusack act. I swear to God.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's Lloyd Dobler for me, man.
I know. I mean, Cusack's had showier roles, but like to turn into clinician and sign to this side of the table, that's the best I've seen Cusack. Maybe turn off the way we think of John Cusack and be
Somebody else.
Something
a
other
dad,
than,
a mature,
how about this?
a father.
Something other than John Cusack.
Exactly.
Yeah, well
'Cause,
done, sure.
I mean, most
Sure.
times John Cusack plays John Cusack.
Yeah,
so-
exactly. I agree. Nice pick at number 4. Swings it over to my number 4. And my number 4 can only be described in one word: masterpiece. Anybody who does not think it's a masterpiece, just get off the podcast. You know what I mean?
Here it comes.
Garbage Pail Kids, the movie.
Yes. No, there was a spoiler alert earlier in the show on this
Not
one.
picking this, is he?
I am speaking of Terrence Malick's masterpiece, 2011,
Wow.
Tree of Life.
Is my car still parked out back?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been fun, fellas.
Can I get a ride? Let's go.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Now, here's
Oh,
one
boy.
Matt has not seen and will
that's
never
true.
see.
Don't go see
And
it.
you should see it, but you got to be in the right frame. Have you seen this by Elias?
You couldn't even get high and see this movie.
Oh,
There are
jeez.
not too many films
No.
that I stopped watching, and I stopped watching this. I couldn't
Thank you,
get
sir.
Wow.
Thank you,
so,
sir.
so I'm on the island by myself here. So let me defend the film. Now, I will say this. I mentioned I didn't like Night of Cups. Night of Cups came out right around this time. I actually went and saw it on my birthday. Had the day off, and before I went and had dinner with my family.
That's a subtle reminder that his birthday is coming up.
Do you know what I do on my birthday?
hint.
I go to Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't go to Terrence Malick films that make me sad.
Okay, well, so for me, I mean, this is right up my alley. What am I going to do? I got the day off. It was my birthday. I'm like, I'm going to start off the day, wake up, get some coffee, and go see a Terrence Malick film. Then, let the day start. But that's how I'm going to get it going. And I was thoroughly disappointed with Night of Cups. Now, I can see where it can go horribly wrong, but not the case with Tree of Life. I don't know what you guys are talking about here. Tree of Life, now here we're talking fatherhood, so let me gear it towards that. Obviously, this is 1950s Texas family. You got Brad Pitt playing one of the better Brad Pitt roles. He is a hard-nosed father, and I think it's that perfect role where he's a hard-nosed father that loves his kids, clearly does, but he's hard with them. He's a rough father with them.
See, I think he hates his kids.
Oh, I don't think so at all. I think it's that kind of deal. A lot of fathers back in the 1950s didn't know how to deal with kids at that era. So I think he was just portraying one of those where he's having a difficult time with fatherhood. But I think you see that the love's there, that he's trying to toughen him up, probably how he had his upbringing.
I'll tip my hat to that. That it is definitely one of the better Brad Pitt roles. It's easily the best Brad Pitt father role we've ever seen him play. Normally he's this, single man hunk kind of thing. So yeah, I'll tip a hat to that.
Yeah.
But
So fatherhood
I think
wise,
he's better in World War Z myself.
as a father,
I haven't seen Terrence Malick's Tree of Life, so
sit down and watch it. It's definitely a film you should watch all the way through and then say what your opinion is. But
I'll watch Tree of Life if you read Old Man Logan.
pass. I'm not reading and watching is two different things.
Yeah.
How big is this book?
It's got
How many
pictures.
Oh, it does.
It's a comic book.
I should know. Matt read it, so it's got to have pictures in it. All right, my number 4, Tree of Life. It's a masterpiece. Trust me.
Okay.
But be in the right frame of mind for it.
Masterpiece of.
Nope. Be in the right mind.
It's a master something.
And
Yes.
also have the time. Watch it early. It's a great one.
All right. And you know what? I have to reserve judgment in all honesty. I haven't seen it. But that brings us to my number 3. And at number 3, I have a film that is based on a book by Walter Isaacson, a biography. The great Danny Boyle collaborated with the great Aaron Sorkin and gave us Steve Jobs.
Ooh, at number 3.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you were talking about the most you've seen from John Cusack being not John Cusack. I was very skeptical. I honestly think that Ashton Kutcher looked more like Steve Jobs than Michael Fassbender.
Agreed.
Looked more like. So skeptical going in, but Fassbender, what an actor. And Jesus Christ, he just became Jobs. I forgot I was looking at somebody who didn't resemble Steven Jobs in any way.
Has an Irish accent in real life. Yeah, it's amazing.
Totally amazing. And you know what? In all honesty, of course, the Sorkin dialogue is just like you can eat it with French fries. It's delicious. But that aside, the movie itself did leave me wanting a little bit more because it only is these small nuggets that take place in the back.
I like that aspect of it.
I know you did.
It's good
I didn't
for him.
care for it. But what it is about, more than the book, more than the Isaacson book, is about his relationship with his daughter, Lisa. And she is the central theme, the through thread of the entire movie. The movie's really based on the book only in name.
Right.
It's about his relationship with Lisa, and that's why it's on my fatherhood list. It's really an examination of Steve Jobs as a failure and then his redemption as a father. So I enjoyed it from that perspective.
Yeah. And that parallels his career in a lot of ways, too, right? He had some failures, and then he came back strong.
Shrewd
I guess
choice,
so.
though.
Yeah.
Right?
Shrewd choice as a fatherhood movie.
Yeah.
Good one, man.
Like it.
Thanks.
I like it.
Yeah.
What do you got sitting there, Don?
I told you, I'm just getting sadder. As a father myself, my greatest fear is, like I said, I have a 4-year-old and 2-year-old. Hey, Molly. Hey, Sam. Don't watch the show. Is dying too soon. You know, like a friend of mine.
I think
said,
I know where he's going on this one.
A friend of mine said, if you can make it till they're 18, the rest is gravy, which would be awesome because maybe you see them grow up and get married and have kids, and maybe you're a grandpa and things like that. But if you never make it there, what a shame that would be. So I went with My Life with Michael Keaton and Nicole Kidman, where that is, I admit, as not just that in doing this website for the 6 years I've done, but in becoming a father along the way, my tolerance level for any emotional thing is is gone, is wrecked. So I cried everything.
But this is a real tearjerker.
Commercials sometimes.
I
get-
do.
yeah.
I'm an absolute wuss now. I used to be the guy who would never cry at anything. Now I cry at everything. So
Same.
So
This is true.
Bunch of babies
I know.
crying at your Logan.
Look, there's a spot or two in Logan. You might just cry. I swear to God. Anyway, no, for and as a person who write, has a creative outlet the way I do as a writer and things like that, I've always thought about like, I can't wait to share the movies with my kids. The way the way we talk about them, the way we review them, the way we write them, and stuff like that. So, I watch it when I see a movie like My Life. I like, if I got that diagnosis, what would I do? And I would be that guy getting on camera, and it wouldn't be cooking spaghetti, and it wouldn't be showing them how to fix cars. I would be talking about all the movies I love until I die, so that someday my kids will hear, listen, or watch a review of all the stuff I love. Because I know I teach and I know I do what I do as work and stuff like this, but this is the creative outlet and the passion I have, and I know, and it's small potatoes to make a blog and do all this stuff like that. But I do. There's a part of me that, because I leave home at nights to go do this stuff, I'm missing bedtimes and things like that. So if I'm going to miss bedtimes, I want it to be a part of what I do, even if it's a selfish way to do it, to be a legacy that my kids can pick up and go, you know what, my dad really loved movies, and here's how much he loved them. And I want my kids to either share that, see that, or know that. And if I don't get that chance, I want to find a way to do it, whether it's this or what Michael Keaton does in the movie. So that ping to me is just that number one father fear that you're never going to live to see your kids are doomed to watch you pass away. But like when we watched A Monster's Call, like your kids are doomed to watch your parents pass away.
Yeah.
But I hope it happens just when they're older and I'm old and it's easier. But if it doesn't, that movie was a saddening thing for me, but it was an inspiration thing for me. Like someday I'm making a plan just like that.
Nice pick at number 3.
Yeah.
That's a tearjerker right there. Yeah, right from the heart, Don comes.
I like it though. So but with this topic, it's bound to.
Hey, no doubt. So what I have to do, my goal here is to pick it right back up and go with a little comedy at number 3.
Thank you.
All right. And so at number 3, I wanted to put an animated.
This is where you have 3 men and a baby.
I wanted to put an animated film on the list, and you think you know where I'm going?
Yeah, I do think I know where you're going.
No. Mine does not take place underwater.
Oh,
Mine
see how I was going.
came out in 2010. Steve Carell is the voice of Gru in Despicable Me.
Wow.
That gets a ding and a number 3.
Wow. Actually, I think this is a good pick. I really do.
Okay. I got to hear out the reason first.
All right, so here you got Gru.
Because I'm coming down from my,
Yeah.
shit, I'm going to die high. So.
You got Gru, who's this mastermind evildoer, right? Who is going to take in these 3 orphaned girls, really because he's just trying to advance his evil plans that he has set. But what happens is the love of these 3 little girls looking up to him finally starts to settle in, and he starts to realize the joy of having these kids around.
This is a good pick.
And all of a sudden, he becomes the father figure.
His
to these
icy
kids.
heart melts.
Right. And it's a wonderful little, I've watched Despicable Me for an animated movie geared mainly towards kids, and me not having kids, I've seen Despicable Me 5 times. So there's something good about the movie. I thoroughly enjoy it. So I had to put it on my list when I thought fatherhood.
Good rationale. Not bad. Sold me on that.
Yeah.
No, I like the pick as well.
All right, we're into our 2s, Matt.
All right, swings us to number 2. Man, this is one I really, 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 really struggled with. And, I'm honest to God still thinking about switching it out. I really am.
Do you need a stall and hop over here? Think it over?
Come on, Matt, just get it out.
You got it.
All
Right. You got
okay.
it. You got it.
Listen, guys, at number 2, I have Star Wars.
I knew he was going to put this on there. It was
Really?
just a generic
I couldn't. Is it a generic pick?
Yeah, there's not enough fatherhood in there.
Are you kidding?
I'm with Ryan on this. I don't think there's enough fatherhood
the elements there, but
elements
whenever is he
there.
ever a father?
Okay, do you want to hear
part of the movie?
Do you want to hear
in any part of the movie?
It's
he's not a father.
about father.
It's
Okay, wait.
about-
Are you going father figures? Because Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of the number 1 all-time father figures in the world.
The whole
It's right there
thing
in this
that's
reality.
driving Luke is the absence of his father. You know.
But we have a list that needs to include fathers.
But this is a fatherhood list. The movie is about fatherhood. It's
I
not
got
about
you.
the dads. All right, wait.
Fatherhood.
Do you want to hear the film that I was struggling with back and forth? The only reason I didn't put it at number 2 is because I feel like I've talked about it too much.
Yeah.
Big Fish. Tim Burton.
Fatherhood movie. But
Yeah.
we have talked a lot about
When I
it.
Google fatherhood movies, it always
Pops
Yeah,
up.
and that's a pedestrian one too, and so is Star Wars. I agree, but really, guys, I mean, that I think is one of the central themes of the entire freaking saga.
Yeah, but there is no really fathering moment too much in the movie other than the redemption of
the
Vader.
elevator ride when Luke turns himself in the Return of the Jedi? I see you crafted your own lightsaber. Is it that?
That was a great dad moment. You know, that was like Pinewood Derby all over again.
Pinewood Derby. Let's make a lightsaber. Get your kyber crystals, kids, and your balsa wood.
There you go.
All right, Matt's number 2 is just
I
a
failed,
waste.
but you know what? The rest of my
Wait,
list has been awesome.
Do
And
you- I mean, hear you out. Do you have a deeper rationale that you were going for? Because I know we stepped all over you
with
for a
Star
second.
Wars. No, is there a deeper rationale needed when you put Star Wars on a list? It's,
No, I
it's
think
Star Wars.
It's kind of known and said. I gotcha.
It is known and said, but I really think like because it's so known and said, we take it for granted. But it's a worthy number 2, and it belongs on almost every single list. I try to avoid it.
It's a worthy number 2. I get it.
If anything, you put that at like a 5. He screws up his list all the time, I swear.
This is where I should have had Euro Dreams of Sushi.
Yeah.
No, I like to come out strong.
Unbelievable. All right, Don, what do you got sitting at number 2?
See, now we just got
You
done.
can't get sadder than my life, so.
There's one. My number
geez.
1 sadder.
Oh, jeez.
No. I went pedestrian with 2 and 1 because but interchangeably so. Because I couldn't help. Once you get to the top of a list of fatherhood, you're gonna land on high-end movie fathers that we've had. So number 2 for me is To Kill a Mockingbird. I mean, if I've made this list before on my website as an editorial where, top movie fathers and the lessons they teach and stuff like that. And number 1 was Atticus Finch, absolutely. Where his example of integrity, I think, is the trait that comes out of this version of fatherhood, where can a father, who is alone, it's a single father situation there, can he still show and teach the morals of his life, or the morals that he believes in? So, and his paramount one is integrity, and I think he shows that it's, and yet we get to see it as in fatherhood situations when it's that come here and mommy put my arm around you and talk about the ways of the world. So I mean, I think it's a pedestrian pick, but it fits the list where I couldn't get away from it. I can't shake at it. Finch.
Hey, no doubt. He's a worthy top father. I like it. Swings it over to my number 2, and this one actually has dual fatherhood themes in the movie. I am speaking of...
Wait, dueling lightsabers?
Please, Matthew. Dual fatherhood theme. And let me explain it. 2002, Sam Mendes directed Tom Hanks and Paul Newman in Road to Perdition.
Okay. I don't know where he's
And the
going with
dual
this.
fatherhood here, and why I like this, especially when you're talking about fatherhood movies, is you got the element that Paul Newman, who is sort of the leader of the gang, he is more or less Tom Hanks's father figure, and he has sort of led Tom Hanks into this thug life, if you will, this gangster life.
Thug life.
Right? And you see this happen.
It's really funny those terms being applied to like 1930s gangsters.
Right. But it is, right?
Yeah.
But okay, so what you have there is he brought him into this life of crime. But at the same time, Tom Hanks has a son, Michael, who he wants nothing but him not to follow his footsteps.
Right,
into
he's
that.
innocent.
Right. So you see it where you have one type of father figure who wants this person to follow him into his career path, and you see a father trying to tell his son, don't follow me. I've made mistakes. Don't follow what I've done. And especially you see that at the end where he says Michael still has a chance. It's a very touching moment.
It's a strong pick.
Yeah, for fatherhood. It's got, like I say, dual meaning.
And he grows up to be Superman. So nice job, Tyler.
Yeah.
Doing well.
Yeah, he's doing well. Yeah. Everybody wants Supergirl. He's doing good.
Yeah, there you go.
Seventh Heaven. Wait. Oh well.
That was my number 2. Okay. Road to Perdition.
All right.
Number 1, fatherhood.
Are you guys worried?
Matthew. Well, after Star Wars.
What tops?
Hold
knowing
on.
your love of where you're coming from. What can top
Star Trek?
Wars?
Star Trek did have that father moment at the beginning.
Is there a
of
movie about God?
Spock is Spock's own dad.
Right.
I actually did my list backwards. My number
Guardians
1.
of the Galaxy.
Oh boy.
No. We brought up Michael Keaton before. I do think he belongs on this list at number 1 in 1983's Mr. Mom.
There you go. Good choice.
That's a good one.
Good choice.
Yeah, I mean, so it's sort of laughable now,
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
To see a father in this role, but back in the 80s, this was a revelation.
Oh, yeah.
It was really strange. I mean, even just looking at the art on the cover or the movie poster, it was meant to be a joke where the wife is sort of leaving carrying a briefcase, but now it's like, oh, okay, she's just going to work.
Yeah, dual income household, right? Yeah.
But, you know, being somebody who's as old as I am, I guess I can still sort of get the joke, or at least the culture that existed back in the 80s. And Michael Keaton was hilarious in this movie. And
Yeah, I loved it.
It's a really good one.
It's really good, and it's not one of these deep fatherhood movies where you get like a lot of super sad themes or anything like that. It's just about, hey man, the day-to-day crap we have to go through as parents, and one dad's journey to discovering how challenging and rewarding that could be.
Right.
So.
Yeah. It succeeds. It's a good choice.
Thank you.
Nice pick.
That's a good pick.
Don, you said this was a sad one.
Pedestrian. It's pedestrian and sad. I Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness. I can't get away from it.
Matthew, also my number 1.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's no Star Wars, guys, but
It's no Star Wars. No, for me, the themes that ring for the Will Smith end of Pursuit of Happiness are fathers as providers and fathers showing and having determination. Because he will bite, scratch, and steal to just flat out provide for his son, and to be a bit of a not just provider but a shield and a person who can teach them almost in a very road to perdition way. Like, don't chase the right things and not chase the things I chase. But along the way, you're going to watch me succeed because I have this absolute determination that he does professionally to seek out a good career, but also to do it as a guy who needs to do it because it reflects upon what he can do as a father. So, yeah, it was an easy number 1 for me. That was the first one that made the list.
Yeah, but you were saying sad. I didn't think you were going to go there because this one, it is powerful, and I remember crying in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end, it has such a happy ending.
It does.
It's almost
Uplifting.
tears of joy, of uplifting.
It's a happy tear thing, and I'm okay
and
with
one
that.
of the things I remember watching and thinking about it too is the idea of sometimes you need to be pushed to the breaking point to take the chances that you may not have taken, or to hit the potential that you didn't think you could hit. And I think you see that with this character in The Pursuit of Happiness. If he was single and he didn't have that kid, you don't know maybe necessarily where it would go. But it is that little extra where it's
or it
like,
doesn't have that risk and peril involved when a kid's in tow.
yeah, he has to succeed. He has to do this, and he goes from nothing to something so much larger than he probably ever thought. Years earlier. So
For me, Will Smith was robbed of the Oscar that year. I mean, no offense to Forrest Whitaker and The Last King of Scotland, but that's the best you'll ever see Will be, period.
yeah, it was awesome. That was also my number 1, The Pursuit of Happiness. Couple of honorable mentions: Finding Nemo. I knew you guys thought that's where I was going with animated. The Karate Kid.
yeah,
Father figure, for
Yes,
sure. Good choice. That was my number 1 father figure when I made an editorial years ago, yeah.
And Mrs.
Miyagi.
Doubtfire.
That's a good
yeah.
one.
Mrs.
The
Doubtfire.
lengths a father will go.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one. I got some honorable mentions. I had He Got Game with Denzel Washington, which I just love. I guess The Godfather's an easy one. Paper Moon, kind of as a Road to Perdition-esque, life of crime, but don't do it the way I do it kind of thing. Boys in the Hood. I love Lawrence Fishburne's
Yeah, it's
lead
great.
by example kind of guy. I guess Kramer versus Kramer is kind of in there. And I still went sad. I said Life is Beautiful with Roberta Benigni. Like, can you make the best out of something in a life or death situation?
Matchstick Men. One I
one.
love.
Oh, good one.
Nice,
I always
nice.
forget about that movie.
Clever
Yeah,
one.
That's a good one.
Guys, Father of the Bride. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Steve Martin, Parenthood.
Yeah,
But that one's sort of about, as the title would suggest, parenthood.
Parents.
It's not just
Right.
fatherhood. Back to the Future, a little bit. I mean, he's going back to time with his dad and this and that.
Little George McFly stuff there.
It's in there. I don't
It's
think
in there.
That's
It's
why
not a top 5. I hear where you're going.
It's an honorable. So that's
Gotcha.
all I got.
All right.
Not bad.
If we missed your favorite fatherhood movie and you have Twitter pulled up, shoot us a tweet at Cinemajaw. We will retweet it and get the discussion going. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break. When we come back, Matt is taking Don on in Kong, Skull Island cast movie trivia, plus a CinemaWAR looking at who the best movie teacher is of all time. We'll be right back on Cinemajaw.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to to get ourselves a treat.
Cinemajaw is brought to you by K&N Air Filters.
Matt, we're coming to the end of winter.
Yeah.
A change of season, right? And it always reminds me, change my oil and get a new air filter.
Hey, speaking of air filters, you know where you can get a good one? KNNfilters.com.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't forget the /podcast because you'll get an air filter and a K&N hat.
I love the free hat.
The free hat is awesome.
Yep.
I forgot the /podcast, but I still saw an amazing website with an amazing product.
Bingo. We thank them for their support.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And we are back on Cinemajaw, hanging out with Don Shanahan. Don, one more time with the website. For the jawheads listening to this that want to check out your reviews, maybe see lists. Do you do lists on the
I do.
As you were doing your top 5, you were mentioning that you do lists.
Right.
That's sort of a fun thing on the website.
It is fun. You always make room for some little editorials. I haven't been super active as I have been in the beginning because once you kind of make a list, you're not going to re-edit it 1,000 times. So, everymoviehasalesson.com. If you want to look at my list, it'd be /features would be the page to find that on. And when I do a list, I try to do the life lessons to go with it. So if I do like a top 10 movie presidents, or if I do a top 10 movie teachers, I always try to put like the best lesson that teacher shows or does. So I actually have my best teacher list pulled up in preparation for this throwdown here. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. And another thing I like about your website, I noticed when I was looking over it today even, is at the very top you had listed, for instance, since the Oscars just took place, you had this at the top, all the reviews of the
thank you Squarespace.
You know,
thank you announcement bar. Yeah,
all the nominees, and here's the reviews. So
Right.
Nice and right at the top.
No, I admit I overpay and spring for a $96 Squarespace website. So I'll be on Patreon soon enough to squeeze $96 out in a year. But I'm really happy with the clean look of the website. I used to be on Blogger, and now I stepped up to this because what was my goal with this? To do a better no-frill site to earn application for the Online Film Critics Society, which I've been trying to apply for years, but never always keep failing to do. So we'll see.
Good luck.
Yeah. Applications in the mail. It started in February.
Yeah, there you go. Jawheads, definitely check out the website. Matt, before we get to trivia, before we get to CinemaWAR, we did throw 0 items into the jaw box.
Oh wow, we didn't.
I couldn't believe it ever. We didn't.
That's
even
just because we know our fatherhood.
Yeah, but we want to open up that jaw box. Get Elias out of there.
I guess so.
I'm sure he has a teacher that he likes to talk about. Fatherhood figure. Who knows? Let's open up that jaw box.
He's got warm feelings for his former kindergarten teacher. I can just tell.
What's your pleasure, Mr. Cotton?
The box.
What's in the box?
What's going on? It's funny because Don just brought up my kindergarten teacher. So my kindergarten teacher was named Miss Heitler, and being that young, I didn't realize it was Miss Hitler.
So, that's what
Wow.
that's what a Catholic school education will do for you, right
and
there.
it was Catholic school,
of course.
in Chicago, yeah. So on that note, we did have nothing here in the jaw box, and I'm just sitting here listening as a fan myself. And when you listen to podcasts, sometimes you just want to yell at the radio, so to speak.
But you actually get to.
Well, I do in this moment specifically. I just, at first, early on, I was thinking Matt was talking about some sort of Greek and Japanese fusion movie, Jiro Dreams of Sushi, because it's actually Jiro Dreams of Sushi. And you kept saying Euro as if we are at...
Wow.
I'm hungry now.
I have gotten to that point where I just pronounce my J's, Wow.
Yeah. Is that how you actually order your gyros?
I blame Hyro from True Bromance. That's
clear something up for me. Is it GIF or is it GIF?
Oh man, this is a debate.
I know.
It's GIF.
I'm a GIF guy as well.
GIF.
GIF?
Really?
GIF all the way.
Maybe GIF, I say.
Dang.
I don't know which I say.
Well, wait a second. You know what? Hang on. I actually
we solved nothing.
It's just to set the stage here. It's midnight, and I have to flip flop on this one. It is GIF.
Okay.
Because it's graphics interface, and I forget what the F stands for.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's graphics starts with a G.
I'm with you then. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Noted.
So all you GIF people, go eat some peanut butter and shut up.
good to point it out, Matt, that it is midnight. This, I think, might be the latest we've ever recorded a Jaw. This is
It's
crazy.
my
We are
fault.
into a new day now.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And
Hey.
a new start. So I'm
Right.
going to forgive Matt K for his Euro talk and getting us all really excited and hungry.
Did I say Euro
great
the
food.
whole
Yeah,
time?
the entire time, yeah.
Check the tape.
Giro. Okay, Giro.
So yeah, that's all. Oh, but you know what? Something that Matt did do that's really good is make sure that we started a Patreon page. And we got some new patrons, don't we?
Yes, we did. And
This
you
is
know,
great too, because literally we just got this thing started, and last week we announced some. We did take a week off, but 2 weeks ago when we did the recording, we announced our first group of Patreons, and now we got some new ones.
we did. And we like to thank them. And special thanks goes out to Elisa Mathin and Felisa Acevedo. Elisa and Felisa are in our 7 Club. Anybody who pledges $7 or more in the 7 Club, they get a custom Cinemajaw t-shirt. There won't be too many of these. And we'll do new design every year. So every 7 Club member gets a fresh t-shirt annually.
That's pretty awesome.
It
plus,
is.
Plus, they get a Cinemajaw flask.
Yeah, a whole bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you, Elisa and Felisa, and everybody else. Please check us out, patreon.com/CinemaJaw.
Thank you so much. Was that everything, Elias?
That's all.
Get back in that jaw box.
Thank you.
Matt, it brings us to a segment called
CinemaWAR.
CinemaWAR works like this. Me and Matt, we're battling on a topic. Don, he's our guest, our jury, our teacher. He gets to tell the jawheads at home who he thinks won this Cinema War, and it is important because we're fighting for 20 seconds of jaw time to rant and rave on whatever we want. As we mentioned at the top of the show, Matt, Don is a school teacher, so who better to judge a Cinema War on school teachers? Elias, tell the jawheads at home what today's Cinema War topic is.
Today's Cinema War topic: which movie school teacher was better in the classroom? Michelle Pfeiffer in Dangerous Minds or Edward James Olmos in Stand and Deliver? Matt, you'll be fighting for Stand and Deliver. Rye, you'll be fighting for Dangerous Minds. Let this classroom Cinema War begin.
Sell me, gentlemen. Sell me.
Matt, you must be living in gangster paradise to think anyone could take down Michelle Pfeiffer here. Dangerous Minds stunned everyone when it made over $170 million at the box office in 1995. Most of this was because people wanted to see little old Michelle Pfeiffer teach a room full of inner city kids, and she did it, Matt.
They did? Look, Rye, I love me some Catwoman, and I know you're a smooth rider and all, but Edward James Olmos was nominated for the Academy Award for his portrayal of the real-life teacher, and I'm pretty sure this one actually is pronounced not with the J, Jaime Escalante.
Since we've gone there.
Yeah.
Right.
Michelle Pfeiffer, meanwhile, was a whitewashed, fictionalized version of the Morgan Freeman character from Stand By Me, speaking of Batman.
Incorrect. She's also based on a true character.
Fact checked.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%
She
based
is.
on a true character. While both teachers had some tough students to teach, you have to give the nod here to Michelle Pfeiffer for the way she went about getting through to her students. She taught poetry through Bob Dylan, rewarded students with candy bars. We all love candy bars, Matt. Pfeiffer taught outside the box, and it showed.
All right. The film Stand and Deliver was deemed culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant by the United States Library of Congress and selected,
Don't raise your voice at me.
and selected for preservation in the National Film Registry. Dangerous Minds is best remembered for a Coolio video.
Thank you.
Every Halloween, Matt, Michelle Pfeiffer dresses up like Catwoman for her class. There, I
Sold.
win. I won.
That were true.
Yeah.
But I bring
Miss Hitler in kindergarten approves.
But I bring up Catwoman because Pfeiffer once again plays a character here that had to be tough and earn the respect of her students, and she did it without using all 9 of her lives.
The community said these kids were hopeless. His fellow teachers scoffed. The state mandated that a passed test be retaken because these Latino working class students must be cheating. EJA, as I call him for short, stood and delivered the real life challenges of chemo. Michelle Pfeiffer gave out some candy bars. Fail.
Yeah. If Michelle Pfeiffer was cool enough for Coolio himself, she's cool enough for me. I think we have seen many imitations of Dangerous Minds since its release, and that is because the greatness attracts imitators. Pfeiffer gets my vote for Teacher of the Year.
Which was the better teacher, Ryan? it is clearly Jaime Escalante. He taught AP calculus, for Christ's sake. What did Michelle Pfeiffer's character teach? Poetry? I mean, you know what she should have taught? How to phone in a performance in a motion picture. You get a D for D-bag.
Jaime. All right. We are button heads here as we do each and every week on CinemaWAR.
Let's not forget Lou Diamond Phillips, okay?
We throw it to our guest, our jury. Don, what did you think of this CinemaWAR?
See, the points that were made on both sides are very, very valid, very strong. But I have to go back to the original question of how good are they in the classroom? And as a man now who is an instructional coach who has to go into teachers' classrooms and observe and see them in practice, I have to sit here and go, who would I rather see succeed or who does more success in class? And despite, a better soundtrack on one side and some accolades on the other, it's very difficult to choose where this is going. On my own list, I had Michelle Pfeiffer above Jaime Escalante on an old editorial from 6 years ago. But in this particular argument, I've been swayed. Stand and Deliver.
Yes.
Is the better in-classroom situation, is the better in-classroom success. It is the better overall performance and impact as a teacher in a setting of realistic and non-Coolio tendencies.
Wait a minute. Here come the Oscar producers. I think Don picked the wrong winner.
Oh, was there? I missed the envelope? Yeah, sorry about that.
I think there's actually a mistake here.
No, I've been swayed.
So Matt wins this one.
Congratulations, he does.
All right, Matt. That earns you
strong argument,
seconds.
gentlemen.
Thank
strong
you.
arguments on both hands.
I'm super tempted to talk about the J in the English language and how to pronounce it, but you know what? Let's not. Dude, so I'm going to take a page out of Ride the Movie Guy's book. What did I just go see? I finally saw
John Wick 2.
I saw John Wick 2, and there's a guy to the right of me.
It's not John Wick, it's Jan Wick 2.
It's Jan Wick 2. Is it Han Wick?
Han Wick, yeah, he's Dutch. Sure.
There's a guy to the right of me lighting up his cell phone, and we're not talking about during the previews. I mean, it's like 30 minutes into the movie, and he's tweeting or something. I don't know what he was doing, but like the screen was white too. Like, listen, I mean, really, do we have to have this conversation at this point? Stop it. Just stop it. Put the goddamn phone away. If you really need to, go out in the lobby. And I shouldn't even have to say that at this point, but that's my 20 seconds.
Hey, we got to keep ramming it out there.
And here's this really happens. This isn't me making this up. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked.
Wow. I believe you. That's a strong PSA because it is entirely true. Even in my circles of seeing things as much as you guys see things, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Matt won one. Good for you, Matt.
What, is there a scoreboard or a record of who has won what over the years?
It's loose.
I deem to the
loose.
box.
There was one streak in one particular time there. Matt won 10 in a row, and that prompted a whole.
I did a We Are the Champions montage. It was
rightly so.
It was pretty cool.
But
that's
I think
10 weeks. So
I
was going to say that's a long time.
I'm not sure here, but I was coming off a pretty good win streak, maybe 4 in a row there, 5. And that just killed it, Don.
Yep.
That just killed it.
You're welcome.
You will never get up to that 10.
No.
I probably won't ever repeat it. But.
All right. It brings us to
trivia.
Computer's way.
Yeah.
In honor of Kong Skull Island, cast movie trivia. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
All right.
Fire away.
Don, you're our guest. You get to choose if you want to go first or let Matt go first. There are steals. If the person doesn't know it, you get a chance at it. And if you get hung up on a question, our engineer, Elias Rodriguez, has clues to all the questions. You get one trip to the ER.
I am confident enough to go first.
Question number 1. They start off easy.
Of course.
Question 1. Tom Hiddleston starred in Only Lovers Left Alive, where he played a vampire in love with this actress.
Tilda Swinton.
1-0.
I would have known that one.
Question 2.
You would not have known that one?
No, I would have.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Big Jarmusch fan.
Yeah.
Jarmusch.
Question 2 over to Matt K. John Goodman starred in this 2016 thriller that took place entirely in his homemade bunker.
That would be 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Oscar-worthy performance, in my opinion. He was good.
He was awesome. Yeah. Question 3 now swings over to Don. Everybody perfect here. Brie Larson starred in Room, which won her an Oscar. What actor showed up briefly playing her dad in the movie?
William H. Macy.
2-1 Don. Question 4 over to Matt. See if he can match him here. This Kong actor has 171 credits on his IMDb page. Some of them are Deep Blue Sea, Rules of Engagement, and The Negotiator. Name them.
Is that Sam Jackson?
All right. I love it when everybody's perfect as they get tougher now. Question 5, back over to Don. Don, John C. Reilly voiced Ralph in Wreck-It Ralph. Who voiced Vanellope, the 9-year-old girl from the game Sugar Rush?
Sarah Silverman.
3-2. Come on, Matt. This is good.
Pressure is on.
Question 6 over to you. Here you go. John Goodman has appeared in 6 Coen brother films. Name the last one he appeared in that also starred Oscar Isaac.
Hail Caesar?
Okay.
Ooh.
Am I stealing this one?
That is incorrect. You got a chance for a
no,
steal
I
and to
know it.
blow this wide
Jesus.
open.
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Wow.
Blew
Matthew.
that one. Blew it.
Yeah, you sure did.
If I had stopped to think, I would have known
Yeah,
that.
because now it is 4-2. Don, you see what you did here. Look at that. Just quick swing like that. It is 4-2, Don. Question 7 is over to
I think it's
Don.
Don, yeah.
It is.
I got odds,
so
yeah.
this is terrible. Don, this is the only Kong Skull Island actor to appear in Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris. Name him.
Ooh, Midnight in Paris. Tom Hiddleston played F. Scott Fitzgerald.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have got that one either, Matt K.
Yeah, no.
No.
Probably not. I might have.
This ball game is over.
Well,
5-2. Look how competitive
Process
it
of
was. here.
elimination. You can go like
Yeah.
John C. Reilly.
Yeah. All right. It is 5-2. Last question of the game. Over to you, Matt.
I was. It was impressive there.
No,
at
it
the
was.
beginning.
This was good.
You
It was
got
good.
this. Big Surge.
Brie Larson has starred in one movie with Michael Cera. It came out in 2010. Name it.
I'll go to the ER.
Oh, trip to the ER. Elias Rodriguez. Brie Larson. Michael Cera. Name that movie.
I think I know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like you would know this one. So your clue is based on a graphic novel and like a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Great movie.
There you go. Wow. Strong one. 5-3. But you lost to Don.
Oh.
Handshake?
Yeah.
Yes. Look
Thank
at that.
you very
Nice
much.
Well done,
handshake.
Don.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Don wins this
You know
one.
what? At least I didn't lose as badly as I thought I might have
Right.
lost. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if it comes down to a tie, we call it a jawbreaker. This question would have been over to
Fire
Don.
away.
Who would you want to see win in a fight? King Kong or Godzilla?
I'm a primate. Give me King Kong.
It's actually Godzilla.
The answer is
I know.
Godzilla.
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah, you missed that one. The real jawbreaker was this: age of Sarah Silverman, closest to.
She is 43 years old.
Wow, he just comes out of the box firing. I was going to go to Matt first, but
Oh, sorry.
Hey, that's absolutely fine.
Okay.
I love it. He's that confident.
A lady-
43, lock him in.
I don't think a lady ever tells her age. Sarah Silverman, right? Okay. No, dude, I think she might be a little older than that. I think
She might very well be. I was going Price is Right rules, like go under but don't go over, because a lady never tells. Like my wife she's turning 39 this weekend. She will be 39 for the rest of her life.
You just told.
It's okay. It's
She's
okay.
gonna be like,
She
Don,
understand.
why did you tell my
I know.
age?
Sorry.
I will say she's 45. Not much older, but
Give that one to Matt K. 46.
Ooh, nice.
approaching the big 50.
Wow.
She's got a few years.
She looks great for her age.
She does.
Yeah, she does. All right, this brings us to the end of a great job. First and foremost, we got to thank Don. Don, I mean, like we mentioned, due to scheduling conflicts, we had to start this one late. It's after
thank you.
midnight. Don, thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
No, Ryan, Matt, Elias, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Hope it's not the last time. Good time. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
We'll have you back for sure.
Thank you.
We also got to thank the best engineer in the biz, Elias Rodriguez.
Thanks, guys.
Also, Matt, got to thank our sponsors.
Yes, we do. Thanks to all the sponsors and the Chicago Podcast Co-op who help us get those sponsors.
Yes. Big reminder. We have been shooting videos, and we've brought a new member onto the team to help us shoot those videos. We have an intern who's
yes.
going to be joining the Cinemajaw team. What's his name?
Let's give him a
Elias?
shout out.
William King.
All right.
He has a 3-name thing, and Matt, I know you're against people with 3 names. I can't remember his middle name right now.
Well, you know
but
when your last name is King, I think you should have a middle name.
Yeah.
You know? Is
Right.
it like the third?
I don't know yet. So
That
we're
wouldn't be
still-
his middle name. I'm
we
just saying
interviewed
like
him.
William Blank King the third. That
We
would
will-
be.
We will get to the bottom of this. We
Yeah.
interviewed him. He's a perfect candidate. And yeah. we're going through the process.
Yeah,
right?
and the reason I brought that up is because we do have a YouTube channel. So please subscribe to us on YouTube. We're doing short little videos, and we're constantly making our audio available to all the episodes that we do. In case all you can do is get to YouTube, you can at least find Cinemajaw.
It's a convenient way to consume your favorite content from Cinemajaw.
It sure is. So until next week, I'm Ryan the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt K, and keep on jawing about the movies.